Stay with Channel 9 Eyewitness News as we track Milton.
Heartbeat of it has already left, but this is what we are all seeing happening in Tampa. And there you see it. Wow.
Goodness. Look at, you hear Shannon.
That's a transformer that blew right there, live on TV.
It's just that fabric part of the dome that is shredded.
The flooding continues to get worse along here. In fact, just a little while ago, we had to move our vehicle to higher ground because the parking lots here are flooding.
I'm going to go in front of this building again because the wind is kind of really doing a number.
It is now Thursday. This is the day really of impact, although Wednesday has been a rough one for us in Central Florida. Hurricane Milton on the move towards Central Florida. Flash flood warnings. Maybe you heard the alerts. They are in effect for Orange, Osceola, Lake, Seminole, and Volusia counties. Good morning to you. I'm Greg Warmoth.
And I'm Martha Sigalski. Hurricane force winds will only continue to increase over the next few hours as Milton gets closer to us. We're already getting reports that trees are coming down in Ocala. Power lines are down as well. Mount Dora and St. Cloud experiencing the same thing, and we know more than 1.5 million customers in Florida now without power. These are live updates, the very latest numbers happening in our state.
Another place that we're really keeping a close watch on, and those numbers are all over the board there, as you see. I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be a lot more than 1.5. This is a live look from Tampa, looking down on an area that has absolutely taken a beating. That road right there, it looks like a river. That's just one example. This is the shot of where that transformer blew. And then St. Petersburg is really taken quite a blow. We saw an example of that. The place that houses thousands of emergency workers, the linemen and linewomen that are going to restore power, had the roof blown off. That dome, the stadium where the Tampa Bay Rays play, is no more. And it's just another example of the strength of this storm, a storm that now that we're past midnight into Thursday, this is the main impact point for Central Florida that we have talked about and focused, and this is what you are ready for. This is why you made your hurricane preparations, because it is now almost here. Tom?
It is, and we're still getting more and more power outages. We do have another, if we can put WEX 2 up real quickly before I walk over, Megan, punch that up. It is increasingly, we're losing power. A lot of it in Polk County right now. I just got a report out of Pittman Estates. The power went off and back on. That's up in the Apopka area. Orange County, 28,000, 90,000 in Polk County. And of course, we're in the purple where a lot of people were without power over in Tampa. They've had incredible flooding over there, 1 in 500+ year flood event in the Tampa area. And you can see the very high numbers here across Metro Orlando where the rain is coming down sideways here in Metro Orlando. Daytona Beach, we've already had hurricane force wind gusts. You see the wind gusts currently 60, 70, nearly 80 miles per hour. And the tote board here is going to go higher and higher throughout the area. And what I'm really worried about now, concerned, I want to make sure you're safe and inside and hunkered down with this, is the fact that we have a Cat 2, winds down to 100 as of the midnight update here. It is moving north-northeast at 16. The hurricane is here. Look where all the heavy rain and wind is. It's on the northeast side right now as the hurricane force winds spread out. So we're getting even worse and worse weather as this hurricane moves through. It'll move through offshore by around 6 o'clock in the morning and continuing to move away, but leaving behind a huge mess with lots of wind, rain, and this is the latest Doppler radar. And again, the storm is back here in the heaviest weather is northeast. We're getting heavy wind and rain down in the Kissimmee, the Oak subdivision, 76 miles per hour. So hurricane force winds are verifying as we had all those county by county maps telling you what to expect. Fort Meade, this is, you can see the swirl. That's where the hurricane is. It's dried out down south, but it is not dry to the north. So that's why we have flash flood emergencies where we're going to get probably another 6 to 8 inches of rainfall on top of the 5 to 7 that we have already had. That will verify those heavy rain totals that we've been showing over and over and over the last several days. And every time I do a hurricane like this, I was telling David and Brian in the Weather Center, I still just can't believe that this is happening every time. But again, this is what the data tells us, is what the science tells us, and this is what's verifying right now. So Sanford over toward Daytona, very heavy wind and rain. Here's future track midnight now. Heavy rain is pretty much locked in and working toward the east, and this will be very windy, rainy, and all the way through 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Stay hunkered, and even after daybreak, it's going to get even windier along the coast because there's a large wind field back behind this hurricane now. So we will continue to verify some hurricane force wind gusts probably through 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and that again is going to continue to create more damage across central Florida, and we're going to get surge after this. High tide is going to be around 2 o'clock. So we're just kind of getting the midnight hour started. We still have all night of the weather continuing to be a problem here with this hurricane, guys.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. And we are going to go back to someone who has been really in the heart of this storm. She has been away. She can't even be in it because the winds are so strong. Our Shannon Butler has been in Tampa. She and her photographer are in a hotel. But what you've seen, transformers blowing, fire, the parts of the roof coming off. And we understand you're going to be in this for a couple more hours, Shannon.
Yeah. Not what I wanted to hear from Tom Terry. I thought we were almost over this. In fact, we just came out here a little while ago, and I said to Carrie, oh, look, it looks like we're getting a break. That was only for a second. Take a look. We're still taking on water here along these streets. That is a school across the street. And pretty much this road and in front of the school now is a river. We tried to see if we could get the light to shine far enough that we could see. It appears that that school may be taking on some water, that flash flooding is now up near that school. That school is not a shelter. It is empty, but it appears that that water is dangerously close to the front doors of that school here. 275 over here. Still just glass. It looks like glass across it because of all that wind and all that rain. It's not flooded, but it would be very difficult to drive. That wind just will not let up for us at all. The power continues to go out here. When you look down the road, you'll see sections of it now, that power out. There's a few buildings that still have it on, but a lot of this area here, if they don't have generators, that power has gone out. So far, our roof is holding up a little bit better here at the hotel. Those gusts not coming as much as they were a couple of hours ago. But this area just is not getting a break, and they still have a few hours here to go through tonight. This is very, very heavy wind, some of the heaviest I've seen as we've covered the storms. Martha, Greg.
Yeah, and again, what a veteran that Shannon is, and even veterans of hurricanes have sent us messages. Thank you, Shannon. We'll let you guys duck inside and into some more protection. We'll come right back out there. And I just received another text that this is the worst hurricane a longtime Central Floridian had ever been through. And
you called it earlier. We were at 1.5 million customers.
2 million now.
Now we're at 2 million. Most likely that number will continue to go up.
That's 1 in 10 people in the state of Florida right now, because there's 21 million of us.
Well, you asked, you gave out the call for our viewers to contact you and I on social media.
I like to communicate with you all.
And so do I. And I got some video I want to share with everyone. We have video of an animal rescue that happened on our coach. It happened in Cocoa on River Road. A gentleman sent me this video, if we can roll it. He was in his truck right there on River Road, and it's a flooded area, and he saw this injured bird, a seagull, just there on the side, and he picked it up and he put it in the back of his truck, and doesn't know what to do with it, but knew that he had to do something and get this injured bird out of the element. And there it is. It's in a cage right now at his house. He doesn't know what to do with it. He's hoping, once the storm passes, he can contact someone, bring it to a facility where they could hopefully help this injured seagull. But again, just driving down, the video shows it was just flooded, but that bird caught his eye and he backed up. I watched the video, got out of his truck and rescued him.
Yeah, so
Jacob,
again,
thank you for
we've been getting a lot of A lot of reaction to, the dog story. We showed that, where that poor little dog, and now we have that bird story. We have all these stories that are popping up, and then we have the story of you at home trying to get through this and hearing it above your house. And again, I hate to tell you, but I mean, the worst for us in terms of the sound and the wind and the rain is still yet to come, but we'll hopefully be that steadying voice for you as you manage through this. Channel 9's Nick Pampantonis is in Orange County.
Hey, yeah, Nick, you, I understand, are in Winter Garden, and you can see that rain coming down hard behind you.
Yeah, the wind has gotten significantly stronger here. We've had some very good gusts. We've also had the power here in downtown Winter Garden on Plant Street flicker a couple of different times here. My photographer, Declan, I was in the car charging my phone. He was out here. He thinks he heard a transformer blow not too far from us. We are at the point, though, where we consider it unsafe to be roaming around. That's what we were doing a lot of earlier. We still have some first responders out here as one passes by us right now. But for the most part, we are, as we have been saying all night, hunkering down. This is going to be our safe spot for a little while longer. We've been checking in with some of the other communities around the Winter Garden area. Much of the same story. Mount Dora seems to be having quite a night right now. Eustis's mayor told me they've got some spotty power, but overall okay. Same in the Claremont area right now as well. So western parts of Central Florida here, in line with Orlando, there are it's a lot of wind, it's a lot of rain, and it's going to be an eventful next few hours, that's for sure. Live in Winter Garden, Nick Pampantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Nick, thanks so much.
There you go. Again, we're going to continue our coverage. We have a lot to get to yet tonight. We'll go back over and check on the team. And what is that timing for you? We're at about 12 minutes past 12 on the Thursday of major impact for Central Florida. And the folks along our coast, especially up there in Volusia County, taking a pounding from the winds. And we're talking about a long duration impact. We'll be right back.
All right, we are approaching 12:15 on this busy Thursday morning. Live pictures right now from just outside the Channel 9 studios downtown, where the rain is coming down as Milton is heading our way.
And the breaking news here that came across as your push alert on your phone from the National Weather Service, we are in a flash flood situation. So we're expecting some significant amount of rain in the overnight hours. Good evening, I'm Greg Warmouth, and we're receiving some stunning images as well of really the punch that came first, which was the tornadic activity. It was forecast to be possible, but to see it actually happen, and now we know that people have lost their lives because of tornadoes that weren't even in the path of the hurricane.
I'm Martha Sagalski. Thanks for staying up with us. We're going to go right now to Channel 9 anchor Alex Walker, who has more on the reported damage, and it is just devastating. This happened in Palm Beach Gardens, Alex.
Devastating indeed. Earlier tonight, I showed you this video of some of the extensive damage from a confirmed tornado in Palm Beach Gardens. Cars flipped over, roofs torn apart, downed trees, damaged houses. We just received video, though, into the newsroom of a different angle from Palm Beach Gardens, and it's wild to watch. This was sent in from another viewer. Watch as the wind goes from bad to worse quickly. You can start to see the trees go down in real time, and then watch the end of this video. Right in front of the viewer's camera, the glass shatters on one of his windows. Tom's been telling all of us to stay indoors during this storm. Here's an extreme example of why. If that viewer is outside when all of this is happening, we'll watch it one more time here. The trees are going to go down and the glass shatters. It's just remarkable to see the sheer power of the impacts of Hurricane Milton. As Hurricane Milton continues to make impacts, we want to see your pictures and videos. Of course, be safe, never go outside into the storm. You can share your images by scanning the QR code on the screen or go to WFTV.com/share your pics. Greg and Martha, back to you.
Is probably the image of the night so far. I mean, that is the tornado, and this was on the Atlantic coast, not even in the path of this hurricane, but yet it was all of that area and those winds, those spinning winds, and Tom said it was fertile ground for a tornado. So we're going to talk to those guys in just a second.
In the meantime, we're going to check in with Sabrina Majore, who is in Osceola County with the latest on the conditions there. Sabrina.
Here in the Four Corners area of Osceola County, the conditions have continued to deteriorate. You can see the way this wind is pushing the rain that's fallen into the street here. It's just sending it up the street. We're really seeing and feeling that sideways rain hitting us. It feels like sand hitting my skin right now as I'm standing out here. And what we're starting to see all across this area is debris flying around as this wind continues to pick up. We saw this tree branch come down not too long ago, and that's what we're continuing to see in this area. Now, we know here in Osceola County, once sustained winds reach 45 miles per hour, that's when emergency responders are going to have to take a step back. And we are, again, continuing to feel that wind increase. Would not be surprised if we are getting to that 45 mile per hour sustained wind gust soon. For now, reporting in Osceola County, I'm Sabrina Majore, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Sabrina, thanks so much. And we're getting a look at the flooding that is happening, Greg, all across our state.
Yeah, we have some video now out of Punta Gorda in Charlotte County, and look at this. You can see cars basically submerged in this parking lot. A lot of their emergency lights flashing, and that's created by, you know, their car alarm because of the pressure on the doors or whatever that triggers that alarm. But this is just one example. And again, as we watch these images continue to roll in here to our studio and to our team that's doing such a great job in our content center of getting this turned around to show us some of the impacts. We know that with first light tomorrow, once we get the drones up and the helicopters, I mean, this is such devastating, going to be such devastating imagery that it's going to take a while for us to rebuild.
We're going to check in now with Tom, and Brian Shields is joining our chief meteorologist, Tom Terry. And you guys were just looking at this video and saw a transformer blow. Is that what you were looking at downtown Orlando?
Yeah, it was kind of on the, just past Lake Eola, on the north side of Lake Eola. We saw that, but you can really see, Brian, look at the water just sheeting off the top of 55 West.
Yeah, I was looking on I-4. There was one car, I don't know, with its flashers on, just kind of rolling up, but that was it. And this over here, Daytona Beach, where, David, what was the latest gust in Daytona Beach? I think we're 70, upper 70s? 70, 76? Okay, 76 in Daytona Beach. And this is what you were tracking earlier in a ton of tornado warnings.
Oh, yeah. And you just give the stat here. This was shocking when I heard this.
Yeah, 100. Now it's Thursday, so this was yesterday for a calendar single day. 126 tornado warnings were issued for the state of Florida, and that is the most ever tornado warnings issued. And of course, we've had a lot of verification out of those, and it is the second highest total of tornado warnings in the history of the U.S. Only the 2011 super outbreak. I think that was in April in Alabama topped
Unbelievable.
This. Yeah.
So ahead of this hurricane, we had the most intense number of tornadoes, the most number of tornadoes we've ever had in the history of Florida. Okay, and I remember covering Francis back in 2004. We, at the time, had the highest outbreak the day after the storm hit, but this far surpassed that. And some of the wind gusts, look at that, Brian, we're still 100 miles away from the storm center. 78 mile-an-hour gusts here. We're still nearly 80 in Winter Haven. Sometimes I think we keep missing some of the data. But my friend
Tom, I wanted to break in real quick. We just took a wind gust of 86 now out at MCO, the Orlando International Airport.
86 at MCO. So all those wind maps we worked so hard on, thinking we were way too high, we were probably not high enough.
Yeah, 86 miles per hour, which means more power outages, more down branches, down trees, and then you get a look as we just pan. I mean, from coast to coast,
here, Brian.
Still coming in. And I think part of this is what you're talking about. You have that cold front involved up to the north, so the wind field really expanded. Then you have the fetch kind of coming off of the Gulf of Mexico. So on the back side of this, just they're still getting hit so hard there. But you see the center of it now kind of rolling right overhead. And what we've been talking about too the last few days, every storm is different. In this one, there'd be some dry air sneaking into the south, but the center in north where we are, that's where the heaviest rain and wind is.
Yeah, and we're already what was that? 86 you said, David? 86 downtown.
12:11 a.m. So that's just 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so 86 miles an hour at the International Airport. The peak that I've had since I've been here is 105 with Charlie. Hopefully we don't catch that one, but just a large wind field, and that heavy rain, Brian, is going to be something we're really going to watch as that storm continues to move offshore by around 6 a.m., but it's leaving a whole lot of rain behind.
Yeah, and as it does, again, we already had some totals earlier, 5, 6, 7, 8+ inches of rain, and you mentioned the additional rain on top of this, the flood emergency emergencies in place, so we are monitoring that. We have our crews out there safely. Emergency officials are watching because we've noticed with Ian and different storms, different neighborhoods sometimes take on some water, and you can see the incredible amounts of rain where you see the red, of course, it's coming down, not just rain, but the wind-driven rain. That's why we showed you that camera in downtown Orlando, but the flash flood warnings are going to continue and persist, but that's why we're inside and we're safe, and we've been waiting for this, Tom.
Yeah, and again, this red polygon that goes all the way from Fern Park through Daytona, that's the flash flood emergency. That, again, that's going to be that 12, 14-inch rain totals that we had on our graphics for the last week. And I must give credit, the Hurricane Center, I think, did a fantastic job with the strength and intensity of this.
Yeah.
Weather Prediction Center that issued the flood outlook guidance was very spot on. And we're continuing to see this heavy rain stacking up along the coast. And again, you just, every time I do a hurricane, I can't believe that what we're showing is actually going to verify. You think it won't, but this is going to verify. Look at that heavy rain from now through 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and again, the wind field will just continue to expand. So like what we're seeing in St. Petersburg, while we're not getting some of those impacts, as this moves by on the backside of it, we're still going to be dealing with a lot of wind tomorrow. This is 7 o'clock, at least tropical storm gust along our coast, and just a very windy day. Need to be careful too back behind it. There'll be a lot of broken branches still above in the tree canopy, and it will still be gusty throughout the day. So we need to watch out for that. But you can see the wind forecast that you've had all along has definitely verified with this.
Yeah, this is what we did yesterday with the wind expectation with this, and I think this red area is going to verify over 90 miles per hour. This orange is over hurricane force winds, including our east coast. And there's so much wind, Brian, as you were talking about, the cold air kind of mixing into the core of the storm, that we're still gusting over 87 in St. Pete, which is now, what, 50, 60 miles behind the hurricane. So we're going to have a large wind behind this, so it will be a very, very long night. I just picked one spot on the map here. This is for Melbourne, and you can see the winds. This will be tomorrow, because now we've clicked past midnight. So this is actually going to be for Friday, and the winds are still a little breezy, but not nearly as gusty.
Yeah, I got to
go back in. I got to pull your morning graphics up for this next one.
I'll handle the morning graphics for you, but it is Thursday. But yeah, long duration. Again, going through the night, we will be here with you, WDBO, and here on Channel 9. Always scarier at night too, with just some of the sounds out there, things kind of howling around, especially if you lose power. But that's why we're here, so we got you covered.
All right, and power outages continue to climb. We'll have some of those maps for you coming up here in the next weather opportunity.
A lot of headlines there that those guys said, the things that jumped off, I think, from Martha and I. 126 tornado warnings in one day, and we had the most tornadoes ever in state history.
That's a big stat.
Yeah, that is a huge stat, and you see the power of those cars flipping, and you saw that one video that Alex showed. So again, tornadoes so far have been like headline A, but then the stuff we expected, the storm surge and the flooding and these other impacts. But man, this tornado impact, I would have to say that it's astounding.
It is. Roads right now in Sarasota completely flooded. Look at this video that just came into our newsroom. Wow, water almost to the top of the hood of this vehicle that is passing through the streets. I'm not sure how that vehicle is going to get through. Entrances to buildings are partially submerged, and again, we're expecting the water to rise in some parts of our state, but you can't escape the water. You can hide from the wind, but you got to run from the water. And we're going to continue to bring you the latest pictures of what Milton is leaving behind our area on the West Coast. And it's going to be a long night, and we are just preparing ourselves for what's heading our way. We'll be back right after this.
As Milton makes landfall, Channel 9 Eyewitness News will continue to keep you informed with team coverage throughout Central Florida.
This is the largest storm mobilization in Florida history.
With constant updates from Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry and the Severe Weather Center 9 team.
Tracking one of the larger tornado outbreaks that I've done here in 28 years.
Updating you on power outages, road closures, and areas most impacted before, during, and after the storm. Depend on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, we are in the middle of it. This hurricane is literally over our heads right now. You are looking at a live picture outside the WFTV studios, which we are downtown, and Tom says that we've had wind gusts of over 74 miles per hour, but we are in the middle of it, at least where we are. It is overhead right now, Greg.
Yeah, it's impressive. in terms of the wind field. We knew that would be wide, but almost every single county right now is feeling either this effect that we have here in downtown or a worse effect. So we're all in this together. There are 9 counties, and we talk about millions of people who live here in Central Florida and millions who very easily could be visiting. And each and every one of us tonight is feeling this. Some are feeling more anxiety than others because of the sound and the fear and the structure that they're in. But again, how long will this last is the single biggest question that I'm receiving right now. I have a lot of people that are contacting me through my direct messaging, and Tom, they all want to know, how long will we be in this? Is this just the beginning?
This is all night. This is what this is. So this is all night. Stay hunkered down. We were watching the power go out. We saw a transformer blow live, and we were looking over Lake Eola.
Any more tornadoes? Because we've seen that impact.
No, I think we're done with that.
Okay, well, that's
But
good.
right now the winds are so powerful, it just kind of would be a blur. And you were just reading here, emergency response suspended in Sumter County.
And that maybe has to do with the high winds, Greg, because they cannot travel when the winds are so dangerous.
Yeah, let me show you this, and this is our live updated power map, and we're over 52,000. The brighter red and the brick reds, those are going to be widespread power outages. We're going to get a lot more added to the board as the night wears on. And here's a live view downtown Orlando. We had a gust of 86 at the International Airport. We've been gusting in the upper 70s in Daytona Beach. The flags are all gone, and our camera is still there. We knocked off the camera in Cocoa Beach at our affiliate at our building over there due to a tornado, more than likely, that came right over the building and did damage in Cocoa Beach earlier today. Some of the live wind gusts, we may or may not have all the data on there. Some of the data is disappearing, but the hurricane itself is back over here. It's actually going to be on the eastern side of Polk County now, moving east-northeast at 16, winds 100 miles an hour. We just kind of checked the weather outside the station, and my ears are still just the amount of wind rushing around outside dropped the air pressure, so my ears pop. So an incredible hurricane coming through. This will move just south right through Kissimmee, St. Cloud. Very heavy wind and rain, and unfortunately the wind field is getting larger as the hurricane starts to encounter a cold front. That cold air, it's kind of like when we have a severe thunderstorm. We can get the cold air dome aloft, and it really creates this big wind issue, and that's again what we're going to be dealing with all night. By 6 o'clock in the morning, was it now 12:30? So maybe that may be closer to 4:30 or 5. It's moving quickly. Winds are still around 80 miles per hour and moving offshore at 80. So the threat now, not only the wind, and again, stay inside away from windows. We saw that incredible video earlier with the tornado coming through and smashing the glass, but we're going to have objects flying at hurricane force right now. Maybe they're not spinning like in a tornado, but we're keeping an eye. We do have a couple outer squalls here that we'll keep an eye on for any potential rotation coming in off the Atlantic here on the northeast side of the storm, but by far the winds are going to start taking over the story. Very strong winds. That was 86 over here. That was 75 or 76 at the Executive Airport. So these are the winds that we're conferring right now. You can see very heavy amounts of rain and a flash flood emergency. There's that 86-mile-an-hour wind gust at the airport. Heavy rain continues, though, and this is where a lot of wind is co-located with the rain, well northeast of the center. So this is going to keep rambling through here from Altamont Springs to Oviedo. And it's going to move all the way in north of Titusville, Edgewater, New Smyrna, Daytona. You're getting these heavy rain bands coming through now, but we're going to get a lot more as the hurricane continues to move on by. And future track has been great here. We've kind of got it really dialed in on the center of the storm at 12:30. You can see the hurricane winds swirling through here. The heavy rain still ongoing, though, for Ocala, the Villages, through Palm Coast, DeLand, De Leon Springs, Apopka, Rock Springs Ridge, Errol Estates. Everything sliding through. Here's 3:30 in the morning, and it's still windy. So what is that? 3 more hours at least of hurricane force winds in Metro Orlando. The power numbers are going to go through the roof here as far as lack of. And you can see by 7 o'clock in the morning, we start getting more of a surge issue. We're going to be in a lower tide in the morning, but by the afternoon, we'll start getting into a high tide cycle where we will start to verify some of that 3 to 5 feet of storm surge along our beaches. And again, as I mentioned, the hurricane force wind field is expanding. The entire wind field is expanding. expanding. So even as the hurricane departs, we'll have a lot of wind left over. So very gusty throughout the morning. Be very, very careful with your repairs and checking out your roof, getting on ladders, all of that, because the winds are really not going to start to back down. You can see this north wind, which will be ongoing through the middle part of the day. We'll probably still verify tropical storm conditions until 4 or 5 o'clock along our east coast especially, and this is why we drew the map the way we did. Right along the coast, hurricane force winds will continue. There's the track down south, lesser winds to the north, but as we've heard from our friends up in the Ocala area, it's been one harrowing day. And tomorrow, this is Thursday, this is for Friday. As we continue to pick up the pieces, the winds will gradually start to relax, but it's going to be one of these really long periods here. Your 7-day forecast, I wanted to show you this. Heading in toward the weekend, temperatures, we will have great weather, in fact even cooler weather by early to middle part of next week, because I think some of us will take a few days, hopefully no longer than that, for a massive cleanup and picking up the pieces and maybe not having an air conditioner, which we're used to here in Florida. But it's going to be very long night tonight, all night tonight. We're watching it for you.
You know, the Associated Press is now catching up with some of the damage estimates. We've talked about the fatalities because of the tornadoes. We don't have the numbers or ages of the people who were killed, but this is an interesting incident that happened in St. Petersburg. One of the tallest buildings in the southeast is being built there, a 515-foot tall building, and they had cranes surrounding it, and some of the cranes have now collapsed, slamming into the ground. Boca Grande is expecting right now, according to Associated Press, a surge of 13 feet. And just as a note, where the storm came ashore in Siesta Key, Siesta Beach in 2017 was the world's #1 beach, according to Dr. Beach. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to look like it used to. No. It is beautiful, those white sandy beaches. Yeah.
Here's another thing, just so you know, viewers have been messaging. I know you and I, you know, concerned about our crews, but just so you know, management has made the decision to lock our crews down, meaning we are not sending any more of our crews out right now because it's just so dangerous. So folks that are concerned, you know, we are obviously err in the side of caution, and we're not going to put our crews in harm's way. They want to come home too. They have families. So just letting you know, because I know folks are asking.
All right, good question, good comment there. And Channel 9's Daryl Matthews reporting live. He is locked down in Osceola County, and he is in a safe spot. Daryl, you are there in downtown Kissimmee.
Yeah, we're right off of 192. We're actually in our hotel carport because this is the safest area so that we could be, where we're still letting you get a chance to see and experience what we're experiencing. But look how heavy and hard these winds are now pushing trees in our parking lot. You can see these palm trees are really blowing with the wind, and the rain is really forcing it. And we have a lot of debris in the parking lot as of right now. We just see limbs of from these palm trees out and about, spread across the parking lot, as well as some other trash pieces. But it's just going to show that this wind is really forcing a lot of the stuff to go flying. But as we're at our hotel, we're getting out of the elements. A lot of the people are also getting out of the elements. This is a family that evacuated their home out in Kissimmee before any flooding occurred or anything. This is Joelle Gardner. Explain to me why you all chose to leave your home in Kissimmee.
Okay, so the part of Kissimmee where we were from, the power was expected to go out, and it's known to be one of the major flood zones. So we thought it would be safer if we were here on higher ground rather than being in Point Siena with our house potentially getting flooded.
Now you have your sisters and your father here. You all coming here, obviously you know something was going to happen. You went through this before. Explain that.
We were here for the major Hurricane Irma in 2017, and the house that we were in, it flooded and it got into our house, and we didn't want that to happen again. So we prepared our house better, and we decided it would be safer for all of our family to go somewhere that's less likely to get hit.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Joelle. I'm glad you all are safe and glad you all are nice and warm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As you can see, a lot of people are, you know, keeping themselves warm, safe, out of the elements, as we are as well. A lot of power outages in this area, but we're continuing to watch the Kissimmee area to keep you updated on what's happening here in Osceola County. For now, we're live in Kissimmee. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
That was awesome. A good example of a good outcome, deciding to leave and evacuate, even if it's just a few miles into a stronger and safer structure.
Smart decision. All right, our Channel 9's Nick Pampatona is reporting now in Orange County. You are in Winter Garden, and the last time we checked in with you, Nick, it was windy, gusty, and rainy.
Yeah, we're counting the transformers at this point. They're going one by one. If you notice, we were here to see the difference, but there were, at the last time we checked in with you, some trees lit up at the far end of the road here. This is Plant Street, downtown Winter Garden. That end of the street appears to be mostly without power. That was one transformer to go. There was one on the other end of the street around the corner from us that went just a few minutes before that live hit. And then I would say about 3 minutes after the one that we're showing you now went, we heard a big bang, and there was a lot of green light coming from just north of us. This is going to be on the other side of our news vehicle right here. And that end of the city, I'm guessing there are some houses now without power. I think I see a lamp post maybe in front of us that also might be out right now. So the power is dropping here. I heard from a resident. They said they've been out since 8:45, I think is what they said. A person with the police department told me that they have recorded wind gusts here that exceeded 60 miles an hour. Tom Terry can verify that. I think since I got that text message, we've had a couple of gusts that have felt stronger than that, just based on the relativity here. So it is very quiet in Winter Garden, though. They did tell me no emergencies so far. They have some trees down, much like the rest of the area, Claremont, Mount Dora, Eustis, the kind of the same story out on this western portion here. The winds are very high. Here's another gust right here. And as you guys said, we're locked down. We're in a spot where we feel pretty good based on the wind direction, and we're going to stay here for the time being. Live in Winter Garden, Nick Papantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Nick, again, when we say lockdown, we mean it. Our crews won't move. We won't send any more out from Channel 9 until the fear of any injury or any difficult situation they might encounter is over. So it may be some time, but stay with us as we continue our coverage. We've got a full team of meteorologists here. We've got cameras that are stationed that are going to provide that coverage. We'll also tell you what has happened and what's about to happen for us here in Central Florida as this historic storm continues its trek. Even old timers who've been through a lot of hurricanes say they've seen nothing like this, and it ain't over yet. It is now 15 minutes until 1 o'clock on what will be one of the longest nights for many of you. I'm Greg Wormuth along with Martha Sagowski, and that is the rain over downtown Orlando. We just have that camera there, and if it weren't a hurricane, that would maybe be a pretty and peaceful shot. One of those things that pops up during some of your commercials where it says, enjoy the zen.
Yeah.
This storm is anything but zen.
Yeah, no sleeping during this one. A lot going on, a lot of, we've had transformers popping throughout the counties. We've had down trees, power lines. A lot of folks can't sleep.
Yeah, I just got a message from Volusia County where the young lady said, this place is rocking.
And we know in Sumter County, it's so bad that emergency rescue no longer taken to the street. So if you call, they're not coming because the winds are so high.
Yeah, and speaking of Volusia County, let's go on out to Daytona Beach, where Channel 9's Sam Martello joins us. And Sam, you've been through many a storm before. It looks like it's a little calm there, or no?
Yeah, you just said that someone messaged you and said that Volusia County was rocking. Well, here on Daytona Beach, we are definitely getting those wind gusts that is probably making her think that it is rocking. We actually found this parking garage to kind of give you a safe view of how windy it is right now. It's not looking too bad at the moment, but there are some serious wind gusts that are making their way through every 5 or 10 minutes. It isn't really raining at the moment, so the roads are a little bit wet, but we didn't see any flooding as we were making our way. We did a short drive down A1A. There was some debris in the road. We could definitely see some of the businesses did not have power. You can see half of that sign over there broken off. We have seen some debris flying around. So this was the safest spot. Oh, see, there's one of those wind gusts that we're telling you about. I do just want to remind everybody that the bridges are closed here in Daytona Beach. They closed at around 9:30 last night. So if you are here beachside, you're going to have to be staying out here until those bridges open up. And another reminder for everyone that curfew is in place that Volusia County put into effect last night starting at 8 o'clock. It's supposed to be lifted at 8 o'clock this morning. But of course, we will let you know if it is extended. But yeah, these are the conditions right here on Daytona Beach. We're right across from the Hilton off of A1A. So definitely not a time to be out. Something just blew right there. Saw a flash of something. So definitely not a time to be walking around, driving around. We're actually going to make our way back to the hotel so we can lock it down and stay safe the rest of the morning as well. So we'll check in with you guys in about another 30, 45 minutes. Live in Daytona Beach, Sam Martello, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Sam, thank you so much. And you can see how we try to station, and the crews are so good, so professional, and it takes a team of planning to know where to go, but to be in that parking garage and to be able to tell the story and yet be safe is just so important.
And not be hot shots out there. I mean, all of our folks are seasoned, veteran. We don't do that here.
All right, current conditions in Altamont Springs. We are told heavy rain and wind from a viewer.
Yeah, we appreciate all the videos you've been sending, Greg and I. Thanks so much. This is new video from downtown Orlando. High winds blowing, heavy rain through the area. Again, you are seeing these pictures just as we are for the very first time. And look at this. This is intense flooding.
That's on the rooftop.
Yeah, that's rooftop. This is in Orlando. Look at that flooding on the rooftops right there as we're looking over downtown.
Yeah, we've got the tornado warning, the flash flood tornado, or not tornado warning, the flash flood warning is something that we're all dealing with here in Orange County. Now, intense flooding in Fort Myers is actually making the roads just disappear.
Look at that. Look how fast those winds are blowing right there. Bending the trees there and causing a wake, if you will.
Yeah, that's incredible. Let's bring in the weather team to comment on what they have seen and what they are seeing. But these are some good examples of how much water is being pushed around all across Florida, not just Central Florida. And that flash flood warning, we have had that alert. It's still in place. What does that really mean? Is that something people should be concerned about if they're not in a low-lying area?
Yeah, you kind of have the stages of it. Aerial flood advisory, we get a lot of that. That's street flooding, things like that. Flash flood emergency is that upper tier that we kind of had back in 2022. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night two years ago, and you were on the air with flash flood emergencies back then. We've got it again in downtown.
And that was the first time we had flash flood emergencies issued for our area with Ian. So yeah, and now we're seeing somewhat of a similar scenario in some locations, and we're watching out for that because we know with our developments, different areas can get flooding, you know, with different types of storms. So this has been rocking Volusia County and Daytona Beach, and where Sam was from Daytona Beach Shores, the Sun Globe Pier, right up through Daytona Beach here.
Yeah, this is 85-ish over in Daytona Beach, and we're still a long way from the center of the storm, which is gradually weakening. But here's some of the updated wind totals: 86 at the International Airport, 85 Daytona, Leesburg, on down the line. And winds continue to climb. I have a friend in Kissimmee, 76, that he called in to me. And the power outages, this map is still relatively low here, but you can see as the winds have come through, the numbers have climbed. This is the percentage of people without power.
Yeah, and we're Volusia County, this number has gone up considerably just over the last hour. So about 15% without power. Lake County about 23%, and a third without power now as we work our way for our friends in Polk County. And these numbers are going to be going up, especially with a prolonged wind.
Yeah.
Again, a long duration here, Tom, with this as it continues to move to the east-northeast.
So we're going to get another position update from the National Hurricane Center. This was the 12 o'clock position. It hasn't sped up any. It's still moving east at 16. So it's going to be right over here right now. It'll be crossing over into the Florida Turnpike areas. We head past 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. But Brian, the dry air through here, but the heavy rain is all channeled right over Orlando, now moving into Seminole, and it's going to go all the way to the coast.
Yeah, and it is just cranking this in. Everything kind of enhanced with that front to the north, just spinning this in. And you see as it pulls offshore, as we work our way through the morning, it's going to be near right on top of Brevard County, the center, by the time we hit 6 in the morning, and then offshore. And it's the wind field has really expanded in this, so it is just going to be pumping in almost all day long to a degree.
We can see what you can see the pumper effect.
Yeah, that's
right
where
here.
it's right in there. So we have that really heavy core right through here, back through Orlando, over toward Oviedo, and then just pumping in everything. And we're thinking of our coast, which has been rebuilding since Nicole in Ian. It's a different scenario from Nicole. We're not going to see homes dropping into water per se. Let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. But with that said, there's still some walls that have not been repaired, and everything is just kind of cranking in here.
Gosh, look at that heavy rain burst that's now north of Bithlo. So this is a part of that 12, 14-inch rainfall. I think we had 10 to 14 on our rain map estimate from the Weather Prediction Center, and that's going to verify right through that corridor. And there was that 86 mile-an-hour wind gust in Orlando. So very heavy wind and rain. The rain is going to gradually start to taper off and move toward the East Coast. The winds will be a little slower to back off, and we are still watching, Brian. This is going to be, again, for us, we're dealing with it now. They're dealing with it now along the beaches, Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, Daytona, Ormond, but it's going to be all night and most of the morning tomorrow or later today.
Yeah, and so we're talking about the wind, the rain, the water just piling up along the coast, that coastal flooding. We have our crews there, but safely. You saw Sam, for example, in a very safe area there, but we'll be able to let you know exactly what's going on there. And going out in time, this is a couple hours from now, Tom.
Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. So we're still getting heavy rain in Metro Orlando, and we'll keep an eye on the flood threat through here. I still remember waking up, and you were on the air with that storm 2 years ago, and we just had parking lots underwater. I think it was Osceola County that was underwater. Yeah. We haven't seen indications of that yet, but we're still keeping an eye. Very heavy rain, New Smyrna, Daytona, Titusville, and still a little bit. They missed most of the rain so far today, but I think a last gasp of heavy rain for Melbourne overnight and in the morning.
Yeah, and that's something we were highlighting the last few days, how for us, a little wobble in the track wouldn't matter as much because the core of it, where it is going to be to the north, but to the south, definitely that drier air. Every storm has a different structure. We're in October, it's autumn, and this is kind of getting tied into a front to the north, and that's why it's a little bit different. Irma was that huge shield of rain for all of us. This one is a bit different with some of that dry air that's sneaking in, but even at 10 o'clock, again, moving offshore. But we've been watching these cameras, and earlier you had that, we were seeing some of those power flashes too.
Yeah, that was on the kind of the northeast side of our camera shot. Just kind of flash. You can see it, and that's very heavy rain. And again, Daytona, they're just getting hammered. And again, the peak wind gusts so far today, I believe our maps were somewhere between 80, 90 miles an hour. And every time we put these maps together, I'm like, no, we always overestimate the winds. But with this system, with a cold front attached to it, the wind field's expanding, and these numbers are going to keep climbing. And we'll probably verify some of these higher winds even higher, maybe over 90.
And this
before the night's over.
All started with you, David, on TV, tracking those tornado warnings earlier. 126 tornado warnings for the state of Florida, which is an all-time high for a single day. In just second in the U.S., 134 tornado warnings were issued for the big outbreak back in 2011 in Alabama. So the most tornado warnings ever issued for a single day here in Florida, which was, I guess, now technically yesterday. Now that we are finally into Thursday, it has been a week. So again, watching the front to the north, and it was just with this dry air getting in here, and you see these feeder bands around it. This is what got all tornadic before. So kind of just a different, little bit of a different setup this time of year versus maybe what we would see in August.
So the answer to your question, if you're sitting at home right now, when is this going to end? It will probably be well into daybreak before the winds come down enough for you to be able to safely get outside. Again, be very cautious with your generators, with the ladders, trying to trim trees and things like that. My neighbor Devin in Apopka just had one of his trees fall. So we're starting to knock down these big trees here, and we're going to get, unfortunately, more of these issues as the winds continue. And good to see you. Unfortunately, it's
this is how we meet, my friend. This is how we always meet, and it's not good. I mean, it's good, but it's not good.
We'll keep an eye on it. We're all back here watching, guys.
Couple of rule of thumbs. Thanks, guys, for that great report. If you have a generator that you've kicked on, hopefully it needs to be at least 20 feet away from your house. Okay?
Not in a garage either.
And not in a garage or in a carport or anywhere where the muffler could send that exhaust, that deadly exhaust. Also, if it needs fuel, wait 20 minutes after it runs out of fuel so it cools, so there's not a fire. And there's going to be a lot of generators running over these next several days, and who knows, maybe weeks. So it's one of those issues.
We also always say in each storm you and I cover, stay inside, please. Most casualties, injuries happen when you go venture out in the dark and try to see what's going on. Just wait till daybreak so you don't get injured.
All right, we'll be right back as we approach the now 1 o'clock hour, 1 a.m., daybreak. Boy, will it ever be welcome in terms of the storm getting out of here, but unwelcome in terms of the images that will be left behind from this historic storm. Milton, continuing coverage right here on Channel 9.